Hello, everyone. Today, we will thoroughly analyze two masterpieces that reveal the true nature of humanity with a cold, steady gaze. Rashomon and In a Grove, written by the genius of modern Japanese literature, Akutagawa Ryunosuke, who cast a brilliant light during his short 35-year life. Akutagawa Ryunosuke was an author who, with his intellectual style and masterfully crafted structures, mercilessly exposed the egoism and vanity lurking deep within the human heart. While his works are often based on historical tales, the questions they pose always pierce the hearts of us living in the modern world. The two stories we are examining today are a pair of works that touch the very core of his philosophy. Rashomon asks a question of ethics in an extreme situation. Is evil committed for the sake of survival permissible? And In a Grove poses a dizzying question that shakes the very foundation of our perception. Does truth even exist? Through these two stories, we will be forced to confront a deep and slightly terrifying question. What can we truly believe? Welcome to the mysterious and philosophical literary world crafted by Akutagawa. Rashomon, a ruined world and a wavering heart. The story is set at the end of the Heian period, an age when the capital, Kyoto, was ravaged by a series of disasters like earthquakes, famines, and wars, and its people had lost all hope. Soaring as a symbol of this era is the massive Rashomon Gate. Once a sign of the capital's majesty, the gate now stands in disrepair, a grim place inhabited by bats and sparrows, where unclaimed corpses are unceremoniously dumped. Beneath this gate, a single, unemployed servant was waiting for a break in the rain. Having been dismissed by the master he had served for years, he had nowhere to go and was at a complete loss, trying to figure out how to handle a situation that was simply unmanageable. He would starve to death if he did nothing, yet he lacked the courage to become a thief. His heart wavered violently between two choices: to live morally or to survive by committing evil deeds. The cold, ceaseless rain and the desolate atmosphere of the entire capital were slowly pushing his mind toward a path of wickedness. He was being forced to make a choice for his very survival. Steeling his resolve, he began to climb the ladder to the gate's eerie upper tower, a place rumored to be filled with abandoned corpses, hoping to find something of value. Rashomon, the encounter in the tower. The upper tower was a hellish place, humid and filled with the stench of decaying bodies. In that darkness, he spotted a single light. Approaching cautiously, he saw a stooped old woman. And this old woman, in the light of a pine torch, was pulling out the long, beautiful hair from the head of a young woman's corpse, one strand at a time, like a monkey picking fleas from its body. At this bizarre, profane, and horrifying sight, the servant's fear of evil and his hesitation vanished in an instant. In its place, a violent, righteous anger toward the old woman ignited in his heart. He completely forgot his own internal conflict about becoming a thief and was driven by a powerful impulse to punish this unforgivable evil. He crept silently behind the old woman and drew his rusty sword. Rashomon, the chain of self-justification. What in the world are you doing? At the servant's interrogation, the old woman trembled and answered in a raspy voice. I pull out this hair to make wigs, and I sell them to get food to live, she said. Then, to justify her actions, she continued, I know it's wrong to pull hair from the dead, but this woman, when she was alive, she survived by selling dried snake meat, pretending it was dried fish. What she did was an evil she had to commit to keep from starving. So what I'm doing now is also something I must do to keep from starving. Surely, this woman would forgive me. The moment he heard the old woman's words, a certain courage was born in the servant's heart. The righteous anger he had felt toward her just moments before had completely cooled. He realized he could use the old woman's selfish logic for his own convenience. If that's the case, he thought, then it must not be an evil act for me to steal this woman's clothes, as I too must do it to keep from starving. He kicked the old woman down, tore her kimono from her body, and declared, I, too, will starve to death if I don't do this. Thus, the old woman's egoism became a stepping stone for the servant's even greater egoism. No longer questioning his own actions, he vanished into the jet-black darkness. In a grove, one incident, three conflicting truths. The scene changes, and the next story we will examine is In a Grove, arguably the pinnacle of Akutagawa's literature. This story unfolds in a unique format, where individuals connected to the death of a samurai, whose body was found in a bamboo grove, give their testimony before a magistrate. The first to testify is the famous bandit, Tajimaru, who is accused of killing the samurai. Without a hint of remorse, he boasts, "It is true that I killed him." He claims that after being captivated by the wife's beauty and violating her in front of her husband, the wife insisted that only one of them could survive, leading to a magnificent sword fight with the samurai that lasted 23 clashes, which he ultimately won. He tells it like a heroic epic. Next to testify is the victim's chaste wife. She confesses, weeping, that after being violated by Tajimaru, her surviving husband gave her a cold, contemptuous glare. Unable to bear his gaze, she fell into a state of delirium and stabbed her husband to death with a small dagger. And finally, through the mouth of a medium, the spirit of the dead samurai begins to testify from the afterlife. He claims that after his wife was violated, she instigated him, saying, "Please kill that man, Tajimaru. If you do not, I can no longer live with you." However, upon hearing these words, Tajimaru was disgusted by the wife's heartlessness, kicked her to the ground, and left. The samurai, left alone and in deep despair over his wife's betrayal, claims he took his own dagger and plunged it into his chest, taking his own life. In a grove, why do they lie? The three testimonies are in complete contradiction, yet each person claims that they were the one who killed or caused the death of the samurai. Tajimaru says he killed the samurai to boast of his own strength and masculinity. The wife says she killed him to protect her chastity and escape the unbearable agony of her husband's contempt. And the samurai spirit says he killed himself to protect his honor as a samurai and escape the despair of his wife's betrayal. They all twist the facts to their own convenience, desperately telling a story that protects their egoism, their pride, their honor, their self-preservation. There is no detective in this story. Who is lying, and what the objective truth really was, is never revealed. Akutagawa dismisses the reader with the cold conclusion that the truth is in a grove, lost in a state of ambiguity. Perhaps human beings are incapable of seeing the world except through the colored glasses of their own egoism. If that is the case, does an absolute truth, one that is the same for everyone, even exist at all? This question is the most terrifying core of this story. The cold view of humanity that connects the two stories. At first glance, Rashomon and In a Grove seem to be completely different stories. However, at their foundation flows Akutagawa's common, cold, and realistic view of humanity, like a thick pipe connecting them. The servant in Rashomon used the old woman's words as a noble justification for survival, to legitimize his own act of robbery. This is the very image of human self-deception, of instantly creating a convenient reason to justify one's own ego. And the characters in a Grove also created completely different truths in order to protect their own egos, pride, honor, self-preservation. In other words, both stories depict the harsh reality that human beings are, in the end, self-centered creatures who will readily twist the truth to live out their own personal narrative. Akutagawa, without any sentimentality, simply stared quietly and coldly at this inescapable egoism at the bottom of the human heart. Rashomon and In a Grove, as depicted by Akutagawa Ryunosuke. They are works of literature like a sharp blade, exposing the fragility and danger of the concepts of justice and truth that lie right at our feet. After reading these stories, we are asked, is the justice you believe in truly justice? And the truth you speak, for whose sake is that truth? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.